Question of the morning. Bring your hot takes or your toast. NBA head coach and player arrested for alleged ties to gambling. How much will this damage the league? In the short run, PK, I believe not at all. I suppose in the long run, and as the case plays out, does it widen? What can be proven that they did? I would say that off the top, the poker game allegations, while maybe serious legally, I would think they'd have zero impact on the NBA. Now, if you get to point shaving or throwing games, now you got something. But they've survived them before, so why wouldn't they survive them again?
Because the league has been outspoken on a number of issues that some people might not be supporting and believe that it was ridiculous at the time. And this is an accumulation. It's not one single thing. It's another thing. And a bunch of people were turned off by a lot of stuff, kneeling, and I can go down the list and all that stuff. And so that may be viewed as, okay, here's another thing. What's the point here as far as this goes? This league has got these millionaire dudes, and they take off 25 games out of the year they have a hangnail. So, yeah, I think it can cause some short-term damage. If you're just looking at it its entirety and not looking at anything else, then you can come to that conclusion. But if you look at everything that might get under people's skin, they would say, forget this. This is not anything that I'm interested in, and go from there. Now, it's all of a personal decision. I try to keep everything out of it and just go for the sport because it's like music or entertainment. If I start getting in the weeds of stuff what these people do, do I disagree? Yeah, sure. But I try not to do that. I try not to look at what's beyond. If someone sings a song, just that's it. Do I like the song? Not do I like the person? Do I like the person's politics and all this other stuff? Because then you can end up with very few options at that point, because there's probably hardly anybody that does everything that you agree with. But I think some people do that, and they may be looking for a reason to not like the NBA because of some stuff that went on in prior years, and then you throw this on top of it. Think, forget it. So, yeah, I think it'd have some damage.
I do think that whole 1,000 paper cuts theory you just threw out there, I do think that's reflected here in the comments, because the question is about gambling, and there are plenty of comments with a wide range of negative responses about a bunch of other issues that we know people get upset about.
Right.
Neil, hard to inflict more damage than the league has done to itself. Tony, the league's been unwatchable literally since Kobe retired. The All-Star game is about the biggest waste of a weekend ever. Players making $40 to $50 million to play 55 games a year. There's little to no defense. It's a glorified three-point shooting contest, and the flopping is out of control. It's unwatchable. So that's not a lot about gambling, but that's a laundry list of everything else that has irritated Tony about the game.
Yeah, I understand that. If I get a couple of games like last night, well, sure, yeah, those are fun to watch. But when you start getting these guys that aren't capable, and now you got two premier players, and Aaron Gordon had it going on, and obviously SGA and Curry are premier in the league, so they're fun to watch. But when you get these no-name dudes who don't have any reason to be hoisting three-pointers, but some nerd analytics says that's what you need to do, then it becomes a little mind-numbing. You used to see these athletes very graceful running down the floor on a fast break, and
now they pull up on the line
to guide themselves and just basically glide through the air. And now they're just all running to corners, and they're bricking it, and teams shooting 20%. It happens virtually every night when you have a more full slate of games than what you had on last night. But you get a random Tuesday or Wednesday, and you start to see this, and you're thinking, gosh, I can go out there and brick threes, and somehow that's supposed to be a good shot. And they say, we got to get up more threes. They hardly ever say we got to make more threes. It's just, let's shoot 40 threes. Somehow that's an accomplishment just by shooting them, not making them. It's even to me, that boggles my mind. So style of play, and I get it, man. Hey, I consider myself a working stiff. I'm very fortunate. I'm not a working stiff in a sense, but that's my roots. Those are my roots. I saw it every day and every night with my father and my mother. And to think that they never made over $25,000 in their whole lives. And to see what these guys make, and then they need a rest. Come on. You can't go today. You need a week off in South Beach. And you got months off at a time. I can see where that turns people off. And then you add this onto it. Chauncey Billups, a standing NBA head coach. This is what he's doing. It's like you're not making enough money. Now it's all alleged, so we have to put that in there for sure. Let's not convict anybody before they actually are convicted, because we've seen a million times that doesn't happen. And it didn't happen, and for whatever reason it might be, it got to this point. Now, I don't know. The process will take care of itself, so I want to make sure that I'm not convicting anybody. But some people would convict them in their minds and say, forget this. And then they still get bent. I mean, politics rules the world these days. It seems it's like a nonstop discussion. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what she said? And then those people laughing all the way to the bank that said it. So I get it. I get it where it could upset some people. Back in the day, you look at just in our city. I mean, those guys that we think of the statues. Well, it goes beyond. Guys like Mark Eaton and Thurl, they were playing every game. And now you play every game yourself. Their best player played 47 games last year. I mean, come on, what is that? They just let him run around, paid him millions, so he's ready to go for some European competition in August.
A lot of comments here about the hypocrisy of gambling advertising and then a gambling story.
Of course.
Who would have thought the league being sponsored by gambling companies would end up with a gambling problem, Michael says. Mike, you welcome betting, you get the shaft. No DraftKings.
Yeah, I get that too. It's like I've been saying for years. I don't want to hear about fan behavior if you're selling alcohol. So you criticize fan behavior, but then you make sure that you mark up the alcohol. Oh, and we stop in the seventh inning, and we stop at the third quarter. Wow. Aren't you high and mighty? You stop sales at the third quarter. Well, what about the first three quarters and all the stuff that's going on? But you've got principle. You stop at the end of the third quarter. Well, what the hell is that? That doesn't impress me. If you were serious about fan behavior, you wouldn't sell it at all. And I realize most people do drink responsibly, but so what? We're those types of bad behaviors. We're rarely talking about the majority of people. We're somebody who storms the field, or we'll see on Monday, invariably on the concourse, you'll see fights at NFL games. You see it every week. Yeah, are those guys just level-headed and completely sane in their thinking, or is there alcohol fueled? Now, of course, you could do it before. Well, then ban alcohol on the premise then, too. But they don't do that. No, they don't do any of that, right? I don't even know if you can do that legally, but if you can, try all that. So I get the hypocrisy of it.
Aaron says Adam Silver is literally the worst commissioner in the history of sports. I bet there's about 30 NBA owners who don't believe that. After the TV money tripled to $77 billion, they're washing billions. Yeah.
But was that just the product and desire to have live sports, or was that Adam Silver?
I think I get your point. He's sitting aside the horse at exactly the right time, but he's sitting aside the horse, so he's going to get rewarded. But there is no doubt that live sports programming is carrying the day, and that's why we got football every night of the week for 7 straight weeks. Tyson sent in an open mic. Here's his thoughts on the NBA and the gambling story we heard about yesterday.
Quick question for DJ and PK. With the Buss family selling the Lakers earlier this year and LeBron James being rumored to be a part of this scandal, do you think they investigate that sale for potential fraud?
I don't know how the sale would be linked to fraud, so I don't get the point there.
Well, Damon Jones was reportedly feeding information to these gamblers about LeBron's status, which obviously a lot of bettors are going to.
Right, but how does that impact the sale of the team? I don't get how the two are tied together. Maybe I need it explained to me. I don't see it quickly and obviously. I think the Lakers are getting paid for because the luxury suites are full and they know there's this steady stream of TV revenue coming in. So I think that's what they paid for. So I don't see how the two are linked, but we've been told this is an ongoing investigation. I don't know what else will show up.
Well, I think the bigger issue here is LeBron is a polarizing figure, and there's a lot of people who want to see if there's an opportunity to damage LeBron.
Bring him down, pull him down, off the pedestal.
Right. And there was some player, I can't remember, but I read it yesterday and trying to get as much information about this. I forget the ex-player's name. Well, I think it was Jeff Teague. You can look it up. Saying that the league would call people if anybody had anything negative to say about LeBron because they made him the face of the league, and therefore you couldn't touch him, and he was basically what they call a sacred cow in the journalism world, and that everything must be positive. And I believe it was a Jeff Teague quote.
It is a Jeff Teague quote. He'd said it in a podcast.
Yeah, and so, and there's a lot of people who don't like LeBron, mostly I would assume for political reasons. I just don't know that, I can't fathom to me how you wouldn't like his playing ability for 20 years.
Ain't nothing getting by them. Their whole camp, they run the league. So I can see how inside the league, outside the league with fans, I get the story about politics and that. Inside the league, when they say they run the league, what kind of power, what kind of decisions? They've certainly moved free agents around and put a plan together to tamper, to pry a player away from another franchise. Massive sway. I'd be interested to hear how many different ways that plays out. I mean, I can think of a couple ways it plays out. And I guess if you feel like you can't say anything, that would bug people. And some degree, power and jealousy irritating people. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he did seem to rule the league for a long, long time. After Kobe was in his decline and getting ready to step out of the league, there was somebody who was ready to take over, and LeBron was more than willing to take over and put himself out there. Some players, that wouldn't be their case. They want to play ball and go home. You mentioned Tim Duncan. He, as good as he was and dominant, he was never going to be the face of the league. Yep. It just wasn't his personality, I suppose, to be in that. Well, LeBron, he's showing up everywhere, man. You see him at various sporting events and obviously entertainment that goes beyond hoop, and he has no problem voicing his opinions on whatever, which to me, he's certainly got the right to do. If he wants to endorse a political candidate, we have a right to tell him that he shouldn't. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Now, if you're preaching on the job, that was always my thing. But whatever you want to do on your own terms, why can't you do it? It doesn't matter whether I agree with you and on your endorsements or your statements, but more importantly, I support your right to do it. Because that's a whole idea of the free speech thing here. That means that you have to tolerate a bunch of stuff that you don't agree with, right? Doesn't that make sense?
No, I get to say whatever you want, and you need to say whatever I want you to say.
Yeah.
But see, that I think goes to the heart of it, is that if they really hold that much sway in the league, and if there are these calls, and depending on how threatening and intimidating they are, and, agents having pull over what rosters look like, I can see how that would, I think we can all see how that would quickly irritate people.
I get it, yeah, right. Yeah.